The doctor said the words slowly, like spacing them out might soften the impact. Stage 3. I remember nodding as if I understood a language I'd never planned to learn. When I walked out of the hospital, the air felt too ordinary for what had just happened. I called my parents from the parking lot. I was crying hard enough that my hands shook. My mother didn't answer. My father did. I told him everything in one breath. Biopsy, scans, chemo, fear. There was a pause on the line, papers shuffling in the background. Then he sighed and said, almost apologetically, "We can't deal with this right now. Your sister is planning her wedding." He didn't say it cruelly. That somehow made it worse, like my life had arrived at the wrong time. Chemo doesn't happen in one dramatic moment. It's a series of small humiliations and quiet negotiations with your own body. I learned which nurses remembered my name and which ones didn't. I learned how to sit alone for hours without checking my phone. Friends drifted in and out, well-meaning but busy. My parents sent occasional texts, updates about seating, charts, floral arrangements, venue stress. I stopped replying. There's a particular loneliness that comes from being sick and not being missed. It sharpens you. I started doing everything myself because there was no alternative. I figured out insurance forms. I learned how to cook bland food on days when smells turned against me. I learned how to hear bad news without collapsing in public. Somewhere along the way, I also learned how to stop expecting rescue. 2 years passed like that. Not all of them were terrible. Recovery is quiet work. It doesn't announce itself. One day you notice your hair growing back. Another day you realize you're making plans without factoring in fatigue. When the oncologist finally said, "cancer-free," I thanked him, walked to my car, and sat there in silence. I didn't call anyone. The moment felt private, like something I'd earned alone. Life after that wasn't triumphant. It was just mine. I changed jobs, I moved apartments, I set boundaries without formally naming them. My parents remained present in a distant way. Holiday messages, occasional photos. My sister's wedding album arrived in the mail. I didn't open it. Last week, my phone rang while I was making dinner. Same number. I almost let it go to voicemail. When I answered, my father was crying so hard at first I couldn't understand him. His health had declined quickly. He said doctors, mobility issues. He needed help. He needed someone to take care of him. I listened. I noticed how different this felt from the parking lot call years ago. There was no rush in my chest, no urge to fix anything, just information being delivered. When he finished, there was a long pause. He waited. I didn't fill the space. I told him I'd call back. Before I did, I spoke to someone who knew the system better than I did, a social worker connected through my workplace health program. She was kind and precise. She asked questions about finances, living arrangements, medical needs. Then she explained what caregiving actually required, legally and practically. Assessments, commitments, the limits of what one person could reasonably provide. "It's okay to say no," she said, not gently but clearly. And it's okay to say no without justifying it. That sentence settled something in me. When I called my father back, my voice was steady. I didn't bring up the past. I didn't mention chemo chairs or unanswered calls. I said the words I'd practiced, exactly 4 of them. "I can't do this." He went quiet, not angry, just stunned, like someone realizing too late they'd misjudged the weather. I gave him the contact information the social worker had provided: home health services, long-term care options, neutral, professional paths forward. We ended the call politely. The consequence was immediate and mundane. Arrangements were made without me. Paperwork moved, decisions happened elsewhere. No confrontation followed, no dramatic fallout, just a reorganization of reality. That night I felt a familiar flicker of guilt. It didn't stay long. I thought about the version of myself who had sat alone in infusion rooms, learning how to survive without witnesses. I thought about how carefully I'd rebuilt a life that didn't depend on being chosen last. Self-preservation doesn't feel heroic. It feels like standing still and letting something pass without stepping into it. I don't hate my father. I don't feel victorious. I feel intact. And that, I've learned, is enough.